So I'm just noticing what that's like. An invitation just now, as I've already invited this sort of looking at the screen, is this, taking in the space that we're in. So here's this virtual space, we might call it, which is very real. Um, this very real relational space with 33 other beings right now. But maybe also allowing yourselves just to, oh yeah, and I'm also sitting in this room or outside, someone's outside, lovely, in this space, and taking that in as well. This is here. We don't need to cut these things off from each other. How is it just to, take a look around you and take in these things that might be familiar to you, corners of the room, letting the gaze sort of wander, maybe noticing the things that can bring some ease, comfort, and that familiarity. And a part of what's here right now, pretty obviously, is this body. For the most part, I think, sitting here, maybe lying here, maybe I can't see that. And so, can we continue together as we feel into these bodies, sitting here, lying here, knowing the sensations of sitting, lying, standing through the felt sense, noticing these points of contact with the chair or the floor. And as we start to notice these things with more intention, maybe we can bring in this kindness. We're going to be together like this in this silence, guided here and there by Rosie and I for at least another 15 minutes. Maybe sitting isn't the right thing for me. Maybe I might lie down. Maybe I might stand up. Allowing that kind of care to come in here. Shifting in any way that might bring just a tiny little bit more ease. Allowing the gaze maybe to move downwards. Maybe the eyes closed. Just for it to be gentle right now. Arriving in this body, mind.
And so, as well as perhaps noticing any thoughts that might be around, see if you can land your attention into the felt sense of the body here. So that you experience the way that you're supported by this place. Perhaps sensations of contact at the lower body. Experiencing the position of the feet and legs, the pelvis. The upper body, the arms and hands, neck and head. So that there's knowing through sensing and feeling, as well as through thinking. This is the power of the pause, entering into the immediacy of experience, mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feeling tone, and mindfulness of thinking.
Perhaps noticing how each of these aspects of experience, their own rhythm, these sensations coming and going quickly, maybe coming and going slowly. Same for those thoughts, same for those feeling tones. We invite relax to help us soften into the experience. Doesn't have to be a certain way. Welcome this rhythm as it emerges. We're transitioning here.
As you rest in awareness in this way, mindfulness, you might notice any areas of tightness or tension. Perhaps checking in with the muscles of the face. You might notice if there's any kind of experiential clenching. whether that's in the forehead, maybe the eyes, cheeks, jaw, might be somewhere else in the body. And inviting a softening, releasing what can be softened, what can be released. Receiving and allowing what cannot be softened, what cannot be released. In this guideline, relax, we're inviting softening into the flow of arising and passing experience.
And perhaps as you're attuning to the experience in this way, there might be some subtle, maybe not so subtle experience of an ease. We're just connecting to it and how we're receiving these voices. It's true, there can be an okayness for the only concern to be right here, right now, this experience, this spot, this sensation, this mind state. Okay.
So there's this opening to what's unfolding internally, externally, and both. Experience these voices vibrating the hairs on your eardrums. So close. And the unfolding ripples of response of these sensitive human organisms, you and me and all of us. Part of the flux, part of the flow of life. Yeah, it's amazing the kind of illusion of permanence, you know. Everything feels so sort of steady and substantial. And yet the reality, and perhaps we can touch into this in our practice, you know, that establishment of mindfulness in the pause, possibility of investigation, inquiry, experiential kind of softening. The relax is inviting that possibility of equanimity and receptivity so that, investigation can unfold, because there's this kind of willingness to allow life to happen. It's pleasant, it's unpleasant. And then this almost semi-permeability of the guideline open, there's awareness internally, but it's not a kind of contraction. There's a fluidity because there's life happening externally. And perhaps in moments we experience ourselves as part of this kind of flow, the breath coming in and out. It's part of a flow. This pulsing, beating heart. It's part of a flow of life. So that attune to emergence, particularly in a meditation practice, personally, I find it that I can taste that flux, I can taste that change in a more sensitive way. And it struck me as Brent and I were offering that meditation, I've never done that before. And it made me think about trust emergence, because they really asked me to trust, and really attune to what Brent was saying and then see what would come out, for me. So where we want to turn our attention in our first contemplation is, amidst the arising and the passing and the comings and goings, the reality of change and impermanence, how do we find ground in the groundlessness? Both in ways that are skillful, but also in ways that are perhaps less skillful. And as I say that, perhaps, the mind starts to construct answers. And so as we move into breakout rooms, we're going to have a separate speaker and a separate listener for the first part. You're invited to really see what it's like to rest in not knowing. So in order to attune to emergence, we need to pause, sense, feel, listen deeply. What might be spoken? Might you surprise yourself in what comes out? And as you speak, you can name what you're noticing experientially. So staying in touch, one of the things I've been really reflecting on is this kind of holistic knowing. So knowing through thinking, but also knowing through sensing and feeling, attuning. So we're going to invite you into breakout rooms. We'll give you a moment to choose the first speaker, and then I'll broadcast into the rooms. Okay? Everyone okay with that? Great. Thank you. So I think Nancy's going to, yeah. So perhaps having chosen the first speaker, might you take a pause for a moment? and resting awareness in the experience of the body so that there's some sense of mindfulness established in the body. As the first speaker, allowing the guidelines to support you, attuning to emergence, what might be spoken about the ways in which you find ground in the groundlessness, both skillfully and unskillfully. It's all part of the picture. Allowing the guidelines to support you, speaker one. Okay, I guess we got. So allowing the words to fade back into the silence from which they emerged. And giving each other the gift of the pause. Giving yourself the gift of the pause, this possibility of connecting directly with the life that's unfolding through you. The receptivity of relax, receive. This attuning to emergence, but also this trusting emergence. Knowing that it all belongs, whatever's unfolding. And moving to the second speaker, same contemplation. How do you find ground in groundlessness, skillfully, unskillfully? Allowing the guidelines to support you, speaker two.
So moving into silence. Letting the words drop away. We'll be moving into a open dialogue, and so dropping these separate roles. And maybe just that noticing that this is an invitation to practice dropping separate roles. We are contemplating the same thing. And whatever it is being co-created between us. We can attune to that. Not my experience and your experience, but what is this shared experience that we might be looking at together? And how is that looking at it together helping us to see something in a way that we couldn't see alone? So how is attuning to emergence manifesting right now? How is that trusting of emergence? How is it to do that right now between you and your partner? Noticing these ways that the change is occurring and noticing the ways we might be resisting that change or allowing it. Often. Letting the words fade away for a moment, pausing together in silence. Refreshing this intention to notice the way we're trying to find ground in the groundlessness of this very moment. What's that like? Sing often, continuing.
Yeah, so noticing a shift in my experience as I see you all emerging on the screen. You know, there's a very real sense of moving from being with one person to being with 34. I don't know if you can, if that's also something that you notice. And so we have an open space now to enter, to continue to enter the stream of emergence. You know, like who's going to speak first? We don't know what they're going to say. We don't know how that's going to touch the heart and mind, what might arise in us. So we can continue this contemplation around emergence, attuning to emergence, ground and groundlessness together. We have about 15 minutes and no need to put your hand up. Just bring your voice in whenever you feel ready and allowing the guidelines to support you.